notice was that when I started talking about mental health, I had a lot more students coming back into my classroom and saying, Ms. Buhrke, this is something that I'm going through. This is something I want to talk to. In the beginning of last November, we had students just come from online learning to in-person learning. And during that time, I came up with 2 ways to talk about mental health with students. The first one was that I provided fidget toys for all of my students so that when they came in, if somebody needed a little help concentrating or just needed to have a bit more of a break for that day, they could pick up one of those toys, and as long as they were quiet and it wasn't distracting anyone else, they could use it to pay attention during class. The other one was I created a mental health awareness bulletin board outside of my classroom, and this bulletin board encompassed a lot of things. It encompassed different sorts of disorders, what stigma is, statistics for Hong Kong, for how many people are struggling with depression, how many people are struggling with other mental disorders at all different age groups, and what the Bible says about mental health and how we can make sure we recharge ourselves so we don't feel burned out. So a lot of these particular bulletin board papers were actually interactive. So for some of them, I would have a true or false statement, and students would have to lift it to say, oh, this is true or this is false. And I would provide a QR code that students could then use if they wanted additional information about what was on that particular piece of paper. In terms of the fidget toys, I know that those are popular a lot with elementary school students and teachers, but a lot of people tend to ignore the needs of the high schoolers and what they need to help concentrate. So if a student has ADHD or ADD, for example, some sort of learning disability, we're teaching them in the younger stages, like, hey, this will help you concentrate. But then when they get older, we're saying, oh, you just have to learn how to concentrate on your own. I've been in meetings where teachers or other colleagues will have to color so that they can help concentrate better and they can focus. ADD is not something that will magically disappear with age. When it comes to bulletin boards and creating awareness of mental health, a lot of people tend to think that mental health issues might affect you later on in life. Maybe in your 20s or 30s after you have a job and a family and you have all of these different stressors. But in reality, this pandemic is affecting everybody, and having to learn online has really affected the mental health of the students that are participating. You know, when somebody goes through puberty, that is the most emotional they will ever be in their life. Studies have shown that the ages 14, 15, and 16 are when you are the most emotional and prone to feel things. And so if you are talking about this in the context of mental health, we need to be addressing students specifically in those years so that they learn how to control their emotions, to learn that it's okay to be experiencing different things, and we do have techniques that are there to help you. And most of all, you are valuable, you are not alone, and we are all here to support you. One of the biggest things that we've talked about within this pandemic is depression. A lot of students are experiencing that. I notice that there's a lot of stigma about mental health. So let's talk about that and let's see how we can break the stigma. It's okay not to feel okay. You know, some people just automatically want to say, oh, you have some sort of mental health disorder, here's some medication. When in reality, that might be good for some people, but for others, you might just need to talk about it. And But I wanted to create that safe place, and I wanted students to know that they have a safe place where they can identify the signs and either get help for themselves or help for a friend or loved one if necessary. When I introduced this topic of mental health, I was taking a little time out of every single class in the beginning when I was going over the agenda and the objectives and any announcements to have a small activity to focus on mental health. And one of the activities that we did was to focus on our 5 senses. So what is something that you can touch that's in your nearby vicinity? What is something that you smell, that you see? I have several things that I would recommend. One, don't keep it all inside. Find somebody that you can talk to that you trust. It can be a teacher, a parent, a friend, but know that you are not alone. The second one is I would look at the Bible and see how the Bible can help you and give you peace and solace. God says a lot of things about He's always there with us, that He will help us through our trials and tribulations, and that He is the peacemaker and that He can bring us peace. So I think having a good relationship with God and giving your burdens to Him will help a lot.